The sole survivor to make it back from Shinsenkyo finds himself seated before shogunate officials, but his account is carefully filtered. He skips over the worst of it, leaving out any mention of the colossal monster head he encountered. The officials, unsatisfied with the lack of answers, select Yamada Asaemon Shugen to lead a follow-up mission and announce that Iwagakure shinobi will be joining the effort. Back on the island itself, tensions within the Tensen castle are already running high. Sagiri is determined to track down Gabimaru. Things deteriorate fast when Gabimaru's group crosses paths with Aza Chobe. The fight is brutal from the first exchange, but something is clearly wrong. Every wound Gabimaru inflicts closes almost instantly, and Mei suspects his Dao is the problem. Pushed to the edge, Gabimaru makes a desperate call. He ignites his own body, willing to burn them both. His logic is simple and cold. He has nothing left to lose, whereas Chobe still has his brother. Chobe snaps, hurling himself into a berserker rage. He lashes out blindly at Gabimaru, who can only fall back on his fire ninjutsu to survive. Tuma, watching his brother become something unrecognizable, tries to reach him and pays for it with a wound. It's Mei who ends it. The child opens a sinkhole beneath Chobe. The effort shifts her back into her adult form. When the two groups reunite outside the castle, they find Gabimaru unconscious. Sagiri uses her own Dao to stabilize him, and the group retreats into a nearby cave to recover. Chobe, against all odds, survives the sinkhole. He tears through a pack of mindless Soshin without breaking a sweat, but then Rien appears, wanting to know whether he was the one who killed Mudan. Elsewhere, Gabimaru comes to a hard conclusion. Raw Tao isn't enough to bring down the Tensen. He pulls in Gantetsusai, Toma, Shion, and Nurugai and pushes them all through intensive training. During the sessions, he stumbles onto something useful. With enough focus, he can turn a person's own Dao back against them. Rien, meanwhile, has figured out what makes Chobe tick. He's fused Dao with flower to supercharge his healing. She tests him to his absolute limit, and he destroys what he thinks is her, only for her to reappear untouched. It was a clone. She subdues him without effort, and when he wakes, she explains in her female form that she intends to study him through Bochu Jutsu. Back with the survivors, Mei opens up. She tells Sagiri and Yuzuriha about her own past. They're at the same time. A second expedition is already at sea. 4 Yamada Asaemons, the seasoned Shugen, the young and unranked Kiyomaru, the formidable instructor Isuzu and Jiku, 4 Iwagakure ninja commanders and 50 subordinates. The groups share a ship but not a goal. Shugen and the Asaemons are there to eliminate the criminals. The Iwagakure are there specifically for Gabimaru. They carry a death sentence with his name on it. The second expedition makes landfall and immediately runs into a Soshin welcome party. Shugen steps forward and beats them all barehanded using Dao, then falls apart the moment he lays eyes on what's left of Aizen. While he grieves, a Doshi unleashes a Manchin horde on the group. The Asaemons and ninja carve through them together, while Shugen handles the Doshi personally and extracts information from him the hard way. Back with the first group, Shion has taken charge and is quietly bracing for the new arrivals' intentions. Mei provides the critical detail. The only vessels the sea monsters won't attack are the Horai ships. The elixir itself is inside a laboratory in Rentan Palace. Shion splits the group into 2 teams based on their Dao attributes. One focused on securing an escape route, the other on retrieving the elixir. Mei goes with them. The elixir team, Gabimaru, Yuzuriha, Sagiri, and Mei, slips into the fortress under cover of darkness. Their destination is the palace, housing a massive Waitanhua flower that feeds on Dao harvested from human sacrifices. Gabimaru reaches out with his Dao to scan the area and immediately senses something wrong. Ran is already there waiting. He knew they were coming. He dissected Toma and read their intentions directly. He also has news. The Tensen plan to perform the Hekiji Fukusho ritual, the rite of just consumption, using high-quality human Dao to produce tan that won't turn people into plants. The no-combat strategy is already dead. Gabimaru and Yuzuriha prepare to fight, while Sagiri and Mei push toward the elixir. But Mei warns them they're not even in Rentan Palace. Ran restructured the whole building before they arrived. The fight against Ran goes badly from the start. Direct attacks do almost nothing. Gabimaru shifts strategy, softening his Dao to blend with Ran's far stronger output, drawing on techniques he absorbed from Nurugai, Sagiri, Shion. It works just enough, while Ran's attention is locked on Gabimaru. Yuzuriha drives her blade through him, But as she moves to finish it, flowers begin erupting from his body. Ran shifts into his Kishikai state. The tables turn fast. By the time the dust settles, both Gabimaru and Yuzuriha are on the ground, barely alive. At Bochu Palace, a different battle is unfolding. Gantetsusai, Toma, and Fuchi find themselves facing Chobe alongside Jufa and Daofa. Chobe offers Toma a place with the Tensen. Toma steps forward, as if accepting. Then he and Chobe pivot and cut Daofa apart in one coordinated strike. It doesn't stick. The Tensen regenerate. The Aza brothers go after Jufa next, fighting in near-perfect sync. Meanwhile, Daofa switches to her feminine form to throw Gantetsusai and Fuchi off balance. It works. Her Dao is invisible to them, and her attacks land clean while theirs find nothing. The tide only shifts when Gantetsusai catches a partial blindness in one eye and suddenly realizes he can sense her Dao that way. So he hooks out his good eye himself. Nearly blind, soaked in his own blood, he charges her alone. Even then, it takes Fuchi grabbing Taofa to give Gantetsusai the opening to slice through her tanden. A flashback fills in Jufa and Taofa's history, the long years training together, growing together, consuming other life forms including human Hoko to sustain themselves. That bond becomes a weapon. They merge into a single Kishikai entity. Chobe throws his enhanced abilities at it and comes up short. Fuchi talks him and Gantetsusai into working together. Shugen's group discovers the scattered remains of fallen Asaemons and makes a vow: the sages and the criminals both die. Using intel pulled from the Doshi interrogation, they commandeer a group of Soshin and ride them straight toward Horai. The combined Kishikai presses its attack, spores, tentacles, everything. But Chobe uses his Tensen-level power to shield the group. The breakthrough comes when Toma grabs Fuchi and lets him swing, metal and earth Tao working together, and the slash splits the Kishikai open. It shifts into a defensive form. Gantetsusai answers with a near-suicidal gatecleaver strike that splits the fusion entirely, separating Jufa and Daofa again. Both Tensen are destroyed inside Rentan Palace. Guifa lays out the full picture for Sagiri. The plan was never just the island. Arian wants to release swarms of butterflies carrying a biological starter into Wakoku that would convert humans into Watanwa flowers on a mass scale. Those flowers would merge into the Benko god beast, becoming the perfect source of tan. Humans, it turns out, are far more efficient than the Hoko ever were. Shion's fight against Jujin, the androgynous Tensen who killed Tenza, he has cut it apart over 100 times, grinding down its regeneration, but he's nearly spent himself in the process. Both of them are running on fumes. A flashback surfaces. Shion, born blind, traveling with his mother, earning money by letting adults swing wooden swords at him while he dodged using Deo. Back in the present, Jujin attempts a fake Kishikai shift to bluff Shion into thinking it still has something left. Shion sees straight through it and runs his sword through its tanden. Jujin retaliates with tendrils through Shion's body. Shion doesn't move. He tells a reluctant Nurugai to go find the others. Nurugai leaves, then comes back, grabs him, and tells him plainly Tenza chose to die for them both, and throwing his own life away now would make that mean nothing. Shion lets himself be convinced. They leave Jujin to die and go to find the rest of their group. Gabimaru and Yuzuriha are still on the floor of Ran's restructured palace, both barely functional. Gabimaru thinks of Yui, his wife, his reason for all of this. He pulls out Mu Dan's Kishikai stinger and drives it into his arm, triggering Flower Dao regeneration. His body knits itself back together. The problem remains. His Fire Dao does nothing against Ran's Water Dao. He tells Yuzuriha it has to be her Earth Dao that finishes this. They go back in, stretching the fight out deliberately, burning through technique after technique until Ran's Dao reserves finally give out. His Kishikai form fractures. Gabimaru launches Yuzuriha skyward to dodge Ran's last barrage of spikes, and from above she drives through his tanden. Ran disintegrates. Yuzuriha lands and realizes how badly she's actually wounded. She tells Gabimaru to go. She sits down quietly and apologizes to her sister, who died before her, for not making it. They're at the ritual circle. Ran's bottle shatters, a signal that all members of Lord Tensen have been defeated. Guifa moves to report to Rien. Then the whole palace shudders. Shugen has arrived. His Monshin-led forces breach the outer wall. The first expedition survivors scatter toward the sluice gates, knowing they need at least 5 people to operate one of the boats. Shugen orders the ninja to kill anyone they find, except the Asaemons, but the Iwagakure have their own list. One young female ninja intends to take Gabimaru's life and claim his title as the next Gabimaru, the Hollow. Rien receives the full report from Gui Fa. Every Tensen gone, the ritual failed, a new human force incoming. He orders the doshi to push back and accelerates preparations to sail for the mainland. There the fighting that breaks out is three-way chaos, ninja against doshi, with the first expedition survivors caught in the middle. Sagiri and Mei get cornered by both sides at once. Then Yuzuriha walks back in, alive and moving like nothing happened, and pulls them out. What's left standing are the second expedition Asaemons, armed with execution orders for criminals who, as far as they know, never earned anything but death. They have no idea what the first group went through to still be breathing, and somewhere beneath the water, an underwater current carries Jujin's severed head through the dark all the way to the Banko, where it fuses and the god beast opens its eyes.